Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today, and I have a review here for a 2007, 8-year-later sequel to Stir of Echoes starring Kevin Bacon. This is Stir of Echoes 2, The Homecoming, starring Rob Lowe, another actor like Kevin Bacon that I still love today. I still try to watch everything Rob Lowe or Kevin Bacon are in. The fact that he was in this all those years later, straight-to-video sequel, as far as I know, I don't think it went to theaters. It doesn't feel like a movie that would be in theaters. This is not as bad as people make it out to be. On IMDb currently, this has a 4.5 out of 10 stars, and usually I wouldn't even bother with a movie rated that low. Anything under a 5 half the time, I don't even pay attention to it when it comes to looking for movies on streaming or whatever. But many years ago, when I found out this existed, I think I got it for like a birthday present or a Christmas present because my mom had recommended this movie to me, the original, so much, and I loved it. So I wanted to see this, just out of like a weird dedication and love for that first movie that I think is so perfect. And I watched it, and to this day I don't hate it. I've only seen it twice now, and I still think it has some things to offer that are pretty cool. It has some decent writing in there. The problem is the jump scares and the editing. But let me get to the story first before I even go into all of that. This is from, the director of Cube Zero from 3 years before this movie's release, and I personally think Cube Zero is a very well-made movie. I think it's well-directed for what it's trying to do. If you're not familiar with the Cube films, you're missing out, kind of. 1 and 3, awesome movies. Really, really cool. 2 kind of sucks. But 1 and 3, really great. This is a film basically about Rob Lowe coming back from not only the Iraq War at the time, where his group of soldiers, his team, whatever, they got attacked, or at least they thought they were, and they happened to blow up a van of a family, and they didn't know it was a family. They weren't heeding to the warning signs of, hey, we will kill your ass if you keep coming closer to our troop, and the car still did that. But they set him on fire after they blew him up. Some things went wrong in that operation, but Rob Lowe also gets blown up, not dying or losing a limb or anything. And it puts him into a coma after he sees body parts of his friends. He sees a young girl from that family's van burned to death right in front of him. And those things, once he wakes up from a coma, begin to haunt him. And kind of like Kevin Bacon in the first movie, he begins to have this haunting thing about him. And there's kind of a mystery tagged on here that he doesn't even realize, and we don't either, is actually a mystery at first. He kind of thinks it's just a ghost movie, like we do. But it's not really that. He apparently had a door open up in his mind when he went into a coma, just like Kevin Bacon did. And this young girl begins to haunt him, and that puts him into some funny-ass situations, things that are unintentionally funny, like hugging a young girl in a hospital that you don't know because you think it's a dead girl's ghost. There's a lot of funny things like that. There's a particular soldier corpse at one point that salutes him in the hospital. I thought that was absolutely hilarious with how goofy it was done. The effects are not as good as the first movie had. Obviously, the budget are going to be very, very much different. But even the editing really affects this movie. One of the biggest cases of that is how the prologue to the film of the soldiers in the Iraq War before Rob Lowe goes into a coma, that whole prologue to the film is very choppy. They took out a bunch of frames from the movie, and you don't really do that when you edit digital film, which this was. I think it was filmed digitally. It looks like it anyway. You don't really like to do that because it makes everything feel too choppy compared to physically, actively taking film, chopping out those frames. You have to be a very particular director and editor to be able to pull that off. And it was not done well. That prologue made you feel like your DVD was skipping, like it was having issues or something. But it's not. And it's really messy. It kind of gives you a headache as you watch that first like 10 minutes unfold with that Iraq situation. But anyway, once Rob Lowe comes back, he gets involved in this mystery, and he has some family issues. You know, he notices from the get-go of coming back that he himself, I know this is going to sound like 2024 politics, but it's not, I swear. The movie kind of has themes of racism, just a little bit. But kind of, I respect it more than what this movie would be like if it came out now, you know? This film has a little bit of respectability to it, despite its low budget, despite what it's trying to do with the story. When Rob Lowe comes back, he realizes how some of the things he said to his son back when he was in the war may have turned his son a little bit racist, a little bit. towards the Middle Eastern folk. And he kind of regrets that. He regrets some of the things he said. So I kind of like how it's not just a guy putting himself on a pedestal telling another guy he's racist all the time. There's a little bit more in there that makes this a little bit more complex, and I like that so much more than what, again, if this movie was made now, current asshats in Hollywood would have done with this movie. It makes it pretty involving, and I like it for that. There's not really an amazing soundtrack or anything like the first film pretty much had. There's not really like a great theme song. There's kind of a song that plays to kind of reverberate through the visions that Rob Lowe has about this family that he killed in Iraq with his team. And that song is like a hip-hop song, but it's like a clearly low budget, we made this within a couple of days, or my nephew is a rapper and he also is white. That's what it kind of sounds like, that particular song, and it's awful. It's awful. But the mystery itself unfolding, I actually think takes a couple of cool turns that I didn't really see the first time I watched it, and I had forgotten the mystery and what happens in here until I got to watching it this time the other day, because I just hadn't seen it in so long, and it still kind of pulled me on a nice chain. I enjoyed that. It really made the movie work, you know? Pulled me on a nice chain. Why did I say that? That's fucking weird. Anyway, it's not a beautifully shot film like the first film, but it's trying. It has some effort put into it, but how much can I reward that when it comes to a rating? Not so much. The movie's messy, the movie has problems, the editing is a big issue there, the effects are a big issue there. This would have really done better if it had just had more practical effects, but trying to keep things ghostly made it more goofy, and that really tears it down quite a bit. Let me be honest with you, Stir of Echoes 2: The Homecoming is better than a lot of movies coming out nowadays, but not by much. But I gotta be honest with you when I say, I don't hate this, and I don't think it's going to be for everybody, but for the people who really love that first movie, this is not a worse watch ever. This is much better than you would think it would be. And Rob Lowe, kind of like everybody performing in the film, aside from like a small side character here and there, like the son, his kind of buddies, his two friends, who's a kind of a jock kid, and a younger girl. They're not great. The son is good. I like his performance here. I think Rob Lowe is the best shining performance in here. His wife, I don't know. She's kind of a mixed bag too. But overall, I don't hate the movie. Kind of recommend it. And I am glad too that since Rob Lowe has the visions and stuff too, like Kevin Bacon had, they also had him drinking a lot of liquids, a lot of orange juice at one point. That's kind of cool. And I like that he kind of meets some other people too, like Kevin Bacon did, who have this curse, gift, whatever you want to call it. I like how they do it in this movie too. Pretty cool. This is a dark film. It has some cool themes that I do like. This is kind of how you handle racist themes in a proper way in a movie. Not nowadays, but this was cool for what it was. Anyway, Stir of Echoes 2: The Homecoming. If I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, I'd probably give it like a pretty weak 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was really fine, really okay, despite the big issues, especially that flashback choppiness and the editing. Not good, really puts the movie off on a bad foot from the get-go, but I think it picks up from that. I think it's got some good benefits in here, despite the shit ton of jump scares that really ruin the movie a lot. I'm convinced that was done in editing, by the way, and not actually filmed to always be jump scares. It affects the film a lot, and it really kind of drags it down, but this is not a 4.5 out of 5 on IMDb. That's bullshit. That's butthurt losers voting against the movie out of spite. But I get it, because I love the original movie too, so, you know, whatever. Anyway, have you seen Stir of Echoes 2: The Homecoming? What did you think about it? Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. I think most people will agree the first film was way better, but I'd love to hear if you like this one more. Let me know that too. God bless the soldiers, and God bless you. Catch you later. Goodbye.